Hey guys, JD from Violation here with a quick guide on what I do to practice. A quick preface to this: make sure you are well practiced and have a good understanding of your rotation before doing this, as you don't want to risk building weird habits. So, what I do is, I use an interval timer to make a model of a boss fight to practice. I'll show you a quick example where I'm practicing Artificer as a DPS on Seed duty. We're just starting with our standard opener. We won't have any mechanics happening for the first 30 seconds, so we can do this as usual. Now traps are spawning, so we just move to the side, and we can move back when they're cleared. Now this is Rift Blast, so we just imagine dodging them and keep moving around for a bit. Next up is Seeds, and we will be getting a Withering Touch during it. So, we go to where our seed spawns and get ready to use the defensive. I decided that this training dummy on the left is where my seed spawns, and we will take it over to this tanking dummy on the right. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so I'll outline the steps I go through when doing this and go into some detail on each step. Step 1. Install a Casts Timeline add-on and record yourself. This helps you review your gameplay and see any mistakes you may not have noticed while you were playing. I'm currently using TrueFGCD, but you can use whatever add-on you'd like. Step 2. Base it on real fights you want to improve on. For the example, I used Artificer, and what I did was looked back at footage from our fights and tried to roughly match the timers up with how the fight actually goes. Step 3. Pre-plan landmarks for movement mechanics. This is for mechanics such as the Seeds on Artificer, or deciding where your pillar is going to be on Shriekwing, or if you are a Night Fae, you can have soak mechanics like the bottles on Darkvein be wherever Lord Hearn is. Step 4. Expect to get mechanics every time. Now this is just a general rule for raiding, but make sure you set it up with you actually getting all the mechanics, as it can help you develop a plan for what to do when you do end up getting all the mechanics in a real fight. Back to our Artificer example, you may have to plan out what spells to use and what to save for certain times, such as holding on to your immunity in case you get a ghost while moving a seed, or holding on to Healthstone and Health Pop for really dangerous Withering Touch timings. Step 5. Different sounds for different abilities. If possible, similar sounds to your boss mod settings. This one's pretty self-explanatory. You want to be able to tell the mechanics apart, and you build better muscle memory when you use similar sounds. And step 6. Practice for a realistic amount of time. 2 to 3 reps or around 3 minutes should be fine. This is to better mimic realistic situations, as most boss fights are between 4 to 7 minutes. This also helps you test your spell usage plans. For example, on Artificer, you may find out that after the 3rd rep, you're out of defensive options and you need to reevaluate. I'll have a write-up of this in the description, as well as a link to the interval timer I use. Speaking of, I'll quickly go over how to set up the interval timer. So first, open up the link in the description, and when the timer is loaded, you'll see a screen like this. Click on Add Interval, and you'll have options for a timer, a label, and sounds. On the sounds drop-down box, you'll have a list of sounds to choose from. I recommend going through and listening to all of these, and making a note of ones that are similar to ones that you are already using in your boss mod. For example, I have a sound that's similar to Submarine that plays when there is incoming damage that I need to use a defensive on. As this is an example, I'll be setting the intervals to 5 seconds, but you would normally want to set these to be as close to the real boss timings as possible. For some bosses this can be a little tricky with things like spell queuing, but a rough approximation is good enough. Each timer goes off by this amount of time after the previous interval. So in our example, Rift Blast was at 45 seconds, which would be 15 seconds after trap spawn. But again, for the purpose of this demonstration, I'll just set them to 5. Now, once you have it all set up, you can save it by clicking Save Timer in the corner, and you will get a link that you can bookmark or keep in a document. And now you should be good to go. One last thing before the end of the video. According to my YouTube statistics, 100% of you aren't watching my video. So if you could watch my video, that would really help me out. Thanks.